All right, this is my review for August 13th, 2025. This session was quite a grind. And despite finishing the day up 14 ticks, um, the commissions essentially made me lose money today. So while I am technically up on the day as far as ticks per contract goes, if you subtract the commissions that I paid for all of these trades, 27 trades, then I actually lost money this day. Um, of those 27 trades, 15 were wins and 12 were losses, for a win rate of 55%. My average winning trade was 2.8 ticks, but my average losing trade was 2.3 ticks. So while that may seem like positive expectancy, if you subtract this massive trade I took, um, what was that, 14 ticks profit? If you subtract that big 14 tick trade, um, it would essentially be 1-to-1, and 1-to-1 at a 50% win rate is, uh, after commissions, not profitable. So a lot of work needs to be done to tighten this session up, which I hope to explore in review. So let's dive into it. These are already tagged and starred. So I'm essentially just going to go through trade by trade and see what I did right, see what I did wrong, and give an idea of how the session went. So this is trade number 1 tick loss to the short side. Watching the playback, I can see that I'm trying to trade a tiny little 2-tick spoof below me, but it's already gone. I'm entering late at this point. We have already traded through that spoof. We've also got spoof above us, which could get taken pretty quick. And if I fast forward the video, I think that's what ends up happening. Maybe not, but close. So I think this was it was a decent trade in hindsight, but my entry was way too late. I am glad I got out of it for a 1 tick loss. However, this is trade number 2, 2 tick profit to the short side. Just wanted to look at my last review there for a second. Let's watch this playback. So I'm going long here. Or sorry, this is a short. I'm going short into essentially the exact same setup as last time. There's like a 2 tick spoof zone below me. I'm just gonna really take to grab those 2 ticks. I don't want to stay in it much longer. I've got spoof behind me. I've actually got 2 spoofs behind me, which kind of outweighs the reward of this trade, which I think is a pretty clear signal right off the bat that I am a little impatient. So I'm going to change these tags on trades number 1 and 2 to clear, calm, content, but maybe patient. I think my patience is wavering just a little bit here, especially right off the rip in the session. And I think, as you can see with the trades coming up, this does play a factor in the tough session that I had. So let's jump into trade number 3. This was a break even to the short side. Um, I'm getting in here to, again, trade spoof below us. However, at this point, I'm I'm almost pretty confident that we are establishing at least a brief uptrend. I've also got more spoof zone behind me, which isn't good. So I think I did a pretty good job of taking this off for a break even. Watching this in hindsight, I think that was a good call. Yeah, and I've been in the trade for 15 seconds at this point, and it's not going in my favor. I got three ticks of profit there, but I failed to take it off. I think I was, again, my patience and even my contentment at this point might be wavering since I'm trying to hold for a bigger move. If I fast forward the video, this trade would have come back against me, so that was a good cut. I'm red starring this trade because I don't like the area I traded. I think there was just way too much shit on my backside. I'm confused on this trade. I am calm, but I may be content and I may be patient. So I don't have contentment. I don't have patience. I think my mental game is starting to slip a little bit here. Trade number 4 is a 3-tick loss to the short side. I'll play the review here. So I'm getting short near the top of the slip range, which is good. However, I still think I'm fighting the trend, at least the micro trend. Like, we've been going pretty much straight up on solid volume for the last like 10 minutes or so. I don't think it's a good idea for me to be shorting to be fading this move. So this will also be a red star. I'm confused. I'm still calm. But my contentment and my patience are both starting to fail here. I also tagged this one as aggressive. The last few trades have been pretty conservative, but this one I can see my aggression coming out. I'm trying to attack an uptrend. Trade number 5 is a 4-tick profit to the short side. I've got a pretty good spoof below me. We're now kind of starting to put in resistance, although I do still have a lot of reclaim above me. I'm gonna have to fast forward this one. Yeah, so I think it was a decent idea. We did end up taking back that spoof. If I was a degenerate gambler, I could have held that for 3 points or something like that, but I'm not going to speculate too much on that. I think it was a decent trade for the point, which is why it's a green star trade. I don't think I should have been attacking this so many times. In a perfect world, this would be like my 3rd trade and it would be a good trade and I'd be sitting pretty on the day, but instead I had to attack it for a loss 2 more times before I actually ended up getting the win, which is just a sign of failing patience. So this was a more conservative trade. It was clear. I was calm. I was pretty content with this, taking the point, not holding. But still, my patience is the yellow. It's not green nor red, but it is in the yellow. Trade number 6 is a 1-tick profit to the long side, so it looks like I am finally understanding the trend. However, I've got V flush working against me, and I think that's why this ends up being a red star trade. Yeah, so I get the tick profit. There is a little tiny itty bitty spoof zone above me, but there's pretty steady sell volume here. We're in an overall downtrend. We just V flushed the top of a 30-second range. So for that reason, even though this is a 1-tick profit, it is a red star trade. I was mid on the slip range. I was confused. I was calm, but I was maybe content, and I'm gonna go ahead and put impatient. So red patience. I do not think I was patient here whatsoever. Especially since I'm like flipping biases. Like biases. My previous trades were all short, and then I just suddenly flip long. So I don't think my patience is great at this point. Trade number 7, 1-tick profit to the long side again. And this is very quick succession after I took that last trade. I do think I have a natural skill, and I've talked about this in prior reviews. I have a natural skill to pick up ticks in fighting the trend. So I can be short in an uptrend, I can be long in a downtrend, and I can pick up ticks. But what's becoming increasingly evident to me is that even if I can pick up 1 tick profit, I'm losing money. And if you combine that with the fact that my tail end risk could be like 4 or 5 ticks, the expected value on these trades is not good. I should not be taking these trades, and that's why all of these trades are marked as red star trades. I was again, I was aggressive. I was middle of the slip range. I was confused. While I was calm, I was maybe content and impatient. I was red patience. Trade number 8. This is when things kind of start to get ugly. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Trade number 8, 2 tick loss to the long side. Again, I'm fighting that V flush that just happened. There's a tiny bit of spoof above me, but it's not good enough. It's not enough spoof. Trying pretty desperately to get out of this trade. I almost took a 4 tick loss, so it's good that I am getting out of trades quick, but I shouldn't be taking them in the first place. So this is a try 3. I've already tried twice. This is my 3rd attempt at it. I'm aggressive. I'm middle of the slip range. I'm confused. Maybe calm at this point. I'm maybe content, and I am impatient. Trade number 9 is a 3 tick loss to the long side. This is my 4th attempt at the same setup, essentially. Again, there's maybe 1 tick of spoof above me, but not enough to constitute a trade. So this one's essentially going to be the same thing. Aggressive. Actually, there's no slip range here anymore, so I do not have slip favor. I'm confused, maybe calm, maybe content. Yes, impatient. Trade number 10, 4 tick loss to the long side. I'm essentially catching a knife here. This one does not work for me either. What's important to mention here as well is that the book is imbalanced on the 32nd. We've got a lot of book balance below us to be taken back. Had I just waited for that to happen, and you'll see that I do end up nailing the trade, this could have been an incredible trade, an incredible session. But instead, I'm fighting. At this point, I'm still aggressive. There's no slip range. I'm confused. Actually, because this is a 4 tick loss, I'm going to change this to tilt, discontent, and impatient. So all 3 of my emotional tags are red. Yes, I am tilted. No, I am discontent. And yes, I am impatient. Trade number 11. Again, another 4 tick loss to the long side. You can really see the pattern here of just tilt trading. So exact same as before. Aggressive, confused, tilted, discontent, impatient. Trade number 12. This time is a 6 tick loss to the long side. I only ever ended up getting 3 ticks of profit. Now that we're down here, technically speaking, and in terms of technical edge, I do think this trade looks a lot better down here because now we've V flushed the bottom of the range. We've got a lot of reclaim above us. There's a lot of spoofing on the way down. The book is almost balanced, so we're getting that book balance now. I think as far as technicals, this trade is looking a lot better here, but considering the emotional context, I still don't think I should have been taking trades here. Yeah, that comes back on me pretty quick there. Trade 13 is a 1 tick loss to the long side. I'm still fighting. I'm still trying to get into this trade. aggressive, confused, tilted, discontent, and impatient. Not a whole lot else to take from that. Trade number 14 is a 3-tick loss to the long side. Uh, Again, I don't think there's a lot to deduct from this trade other than the fact that I was aggressive. Um, I was also missing context. I didn't see that the book wasn't balanced yet. I got to wait for that book balance. I'm revenge trading. I'm confused, tilted, discontent, and impatient. So this is just a really, really bad tilt session that's going on here. This one does go in my favor about 6 or 7 ticks. I try to take it off for a point, but I don't get it, of course, which is probably putting me more on tilt. Trade number 15, which is a 14 tick win to the long side. So I finally caught the trade I wanted. But the losing trades I've taken plus commissions on the way down to get this trade, it's nowhere near worth it. Had I just waited for this trade, I think it would have been an incredible trade session. But clearly, my patience was just failing me. Um, so a couple things about this trade. Um, there was a lot of technical edge. I've got book balance. I've got delta favor, meaning that buyers are starting to step in here. It looks like sellers are exhausted. There's spoofing on the way down. So we spoofed so many times that I'm betting we're going to retake all that. I've also got range favor. It's technically range expansion, but regardless, I'm still in favor of the range. I'm still aggressive, and this is a hold trade. Um, I tagged it as A plus. Now, I don't want my A plus tags to um, to symbolize uh, that it was a good trade, given the context of my emotions. Because if you take away the context of my emotions, this is an A plus trade, technically speaking. But given the context, I think this is even a red star trade. I do not think that after taking so many losses, I should have been trading anymore. Which takes precedence. I think emotional state and where I'm sitting in the session takes precedence over how good a setup is. Um, I also failed to bankroll here, um, which sounds counterintuitive because it is a 14 tick win. I would have been happier had I taken this off for maybe like 5 or 6 ticks, because I think that would have been effective bankrolling. It would have helped my boost my morale a bit more. Um, I think that kind of trading could have dug me out of this hole a lot quicker, or at least stopped the bleeding a lot sooner. Um, Technically speaking, I did have slip favor. Again, technically speaking, I did have great clarity here because the setup has finally set up. We finally got the book balance. We've reached the bottom of the range. Buyers are stepping in. We took back all that fucking reclaim and all that spoof on the sell side. We're finally ready to reverse. I just took so many fucking paper cuts on the way here. Um, I did change my emotional tags um, because I like to tag them how I felt after the trade played out. And I think finally nailing this trade, as irresponsible as it was, it did make me a little bit more calm. It did make me a little bit more content, and it did make me a little bit more patient because you'll see that I did take a pretty substantial break after this. So my emotional tags are yellow, maybe calm, maybe content, maybe patient. Um, what I want to do at this point is I want to do a visualization. Um, I want to replay the entire move with all of those bad trades, all those paper cuts, and I want to visualize myself not taking them. I want to visualize myself being patient, calm, content, waiting for the move, sitting on my hands. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mute my mic for a second, catch my breath. All right. So I'm just doing some basic breathing exercises, trying to catch my breath a little bit, uh, slow my breathing, slow my heart rate, stuff like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the replay from the top of the move when I started going long. I've actually got the first trade pulled up here, my first long trade before I took those 1,000 paper cuts, because I want to visualize the entire move. I want to watch that entire move go down, and try to visualize myself being patient, waiting, sitting on my hands, not taking any trades, just observing and waiting for that perfect setup, waiting until we touch the bottom of the range, so that I can nail that long trade. First, I'm going to do some Wim Hof breaths, just to really, really get that tingly feeling in my head and to achieve that calmness. do that one more time. I'm just imagining myself patient, calm, not taking any trades on this move, just observing. Oh, I feel so much better after that. I feel so much better. I know I can nail these trades. I know I have edge. I know I can read the market. I know I can trade well. I just need to be patient. And that's something that the visualizations and the Wim Hof breath are so good at doing. It just clears your head of all the noise, all the emotions, um, all the shitty things that you might have felt at the point where you placed the trade, and it just reminds you like this is edge. There, you are a good trader. You can make money in the markets. Just those. It's one thing to tell yourself these positive affirmations. It's another thing to feel it, to really, really feel those things. And that's why these visualizations are so important. So, coming away from this, I do think this was a great A+ trade, but at the same time, it's got to be a red star because I should not have been trading here after all those paper cuts. It's not worth it. The 14 tick win is not worth the 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 huge tilt session I just had. It's not worth it. I did take a break after this trade. Um, whether I or not I should have been done for the day is is an argument that I think every trader struggles with. It's like when you go on tilt like that, is it really worth it to come back and keep trading? And the simple answer is no, it's not. Um, I think on one hand I am trying to get more screen time. And I also think it's important to know how to dig out of a hole. And even though that trade was a 14 tick win, I'm still in the hole, especially after commissions. I'm probably down a considerable amount at this point in the session. So I did take a break and I did decide to come back and trade again, just with a clear head. Um, I do think I took a break to do some breathing exercises, stretch my legs, look out the window, distract myself a little bit. And I came back to actually have a pretty decent rest of the session. So let's jump into these trades. This is trade 16. It's a 4 tick profit to the short side. Right away, I can see I have a pretty decent spoof behind me. We've kind of bounced off the midpoint of this range, which is usually a pretty decent setup. I try to get it out for 6 ticks, but it's just not quite filling me, so I take it off sooner. For shits and giggles, let's fast forward, see if I could have held it. Technically, yes, I could have, but not to target. So if I was trying to wait for the target, it would have never hit. It would have came back on me. So I think taking it for 4 ticks and effectively bankrolling was the good thing to do. So this is a green star trade. It was a conservative scalp. I had slip favor. I was clear. I was maybe calm, maybe content, and maybe patient. Again, just coming off that big tilt session that I had. This is trade 17, break even to the long side. And it comes pretty quickly after I just took that short trade. I think I'm getting pretty aggressive here. Uh, Looks like I got one tick profit on it. And if I fast forward in hindsight, I would have been able to hold this longer. But given the context, like where I was, there was spoof below us, there was reclaim below us. Like we could have, the delta was clearly downtrending. And it even looks like sellers are absorbing here. Yeah, it looks like sellers are absorbing. So there's a lot of things going against me here, which I am going to reflect in the tags. This was an aggressive scalp. My clarity was in between. I was neither clear nor confused. Maybe calm, maybe content. And I'm going to put the impatient tag back on. I do think I was impatient by flipping here. Trade 18 is a one tick profit to the short side. So again, I'm flipping biases. I got to be really careful here. This is pretty aggressive. I do have spoofing below me. I don't think there's a whole lot of edge in trading where I'm trading. I'm in the right dead smack in the middle of a range. It's kind of a coin toss. It could go either direction. Now, I am good at that kind of trading. I am good at picking up ticks, but we just discussed commissions. Like it's death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's a Pyrrhic victory essentially. So this was an aggressive scalp. Um, in between clarity, maybe calm, maybe content. And I'm going to put the impatient tag on there. Trade 19, this was a 2-tick win to the long side. Got just a couple spoof bars above me. Quick scalp, take it for 2 ticks. I like this trade a lot better. I do think there is a trend developing on the micro time frame that I am in favor with. There's neither a V flush against me or in favor. They've canceled each other out. I think I'm just, trading what's in front of me. So for that reason, I will green star this trade. I think it was conservative. I think I had pretty good clarity. My calmness was coming back at this point, so I was feeling calm, maybe content, and maybe patient. Trade 20 is a 1-tick profit to the long side. Essentially the exact same as the one I just had. Although I do have a really big V flush working for me this time. We V flushed just a couple minutes before taking this trade, which is usually an indication that we're gonna go higher. And I think we do, if I'm not mistaken. So this one had V flush favor. It was conservative scalp, clear, calm, content, and maybe patient. Trade 21, 2-tick profit to the long side, or sorry, this is to the short side. We top ticked liquidity, which was essentially the setup here. I didn't have any real spoofing to go on. I just liked that we top ticked. And Delta seems to be working in favor for us. The book is balanced here. So I think this was a pretty solid trade. And if I fast forward, could have held longer. So I'll do exit early, even though it is effective bankrolling. I'm not going to beat myself up too much. Book balanced, clear, calm, content, and maybe patient. Trade 22 is a 1-tick loss to the long side. It looks like I'm just kind of trying to play both ends of a range, which isn't a horrible idea. However, we're just coming off of a pretty significant top tick there, which is working against me. So for that reason, this is a yellow star. Conservative, confused. I am not clear on this trade. However, I am still calm. I'm still content and just maybe patient. Trade 23 is a 2-tick profit to the long side. I got some pretty good spoofing going on above me, so I take the quick reclaim of it. I'm not trying to hold for the world out of it. I did have 3 ticks profit that I probably should have taken, but I end up getting 2 out of it. Delta is also working in my favor substantially. It looks like buyers are absorbing. Clear, calm, content, and maybe patient. I don't think my patience made a recovery at all this session because I am still trading pretty frequently. I think I could do a better job of just waiting. Trade 24 is a 2-tick profit to the long side. At this point, I'm fighting a trend. We've given up on the range. We've failed to reclaim it. We're bleeding into low of day. But again, I do have a natural ability to trade profitably in against the trend. So there's some spoof above us. I take it for the quick reclaim, in and out. Trade 25 is technically a partial fill of trade 24, so they are technically the same trade. Trade 26 is a 1-tick profit to the short side. It is a very quick trade. I take it off almost instantly just for that quick 1-tick spoof. It is a yellow star trade just because I think I shouldn't be trading those 1-tick trades. I want a little bit more. My market read is in between, maybe calm, yes content, and maybe patient. Trade 27, my last trade of the day, is a 2-tick profit to the long side. Pretty solid setup, just a couple ticks of spoof above me. I take it for the quick reclaim. And it does look like Delta is sort of working in my favor here. There's some buyer absorption going on, but overall fighting the trend. And that's it. Those are all my trades. On the one hand, I am really proud of the fact that I managed to claw back all these losses I dug out of the hole, which is not easy. I've and I'm sure most other traders have experienced those tilt sessions where you go on tilt and then you bleed and the bleeding never stops, and then the next thing you know, you blow your account or you hit your liquidation threshold. I think it's a challenge to dig out of the hole, but that's something that every trader has to do at some point in their career. So getting that practice of digging out of the hole is an effective use of a session, in my opinion. So on one hand, I am, upset with myself that I did go on tilt and that I did, fall for that trap of over trading, revenge trading, death by 1,000 paper cuts. But on the other hand, I did effectively dig out of it. Now, the over encompassing issue is that even though I did dig out of the hole, the commissions still murdered me, because it doesn't matter if it's a winning trade or a losing trade, the broker is still going to get his slice of the pie. So when you combine the fact that I took, 7 or 8 trades, no, it was almost 10 trades. I took 10 losing trades in a row almost, which does break my 3 consecutive loss rule, by the way. I did break a major rule. While I did take those 10 negative trades, on each one of those trades, I'm paying commission. And then on the way back up, on those 1 to 2 tick trades that I'm using to bankroll, I'm also paying commissions. So at the end of the day, 27 trades in, it doesn't matter if I'm profitable. Technically, I'm still losing money on those commissions. So while I did dig out of the hole, technically speaking, this was still a red session overall because of commissions. So Um, I don't hate the fact that I dug out of it with 1 to 2 tick wins. I think that's good for morale. It's good screen time. It's good practice. Um, but honestly, had I just left the session after that 14 tick after that huge tilt session, it probably would have had the same effect on my PNL. I think all that trading that I did afterwards, while they were good trades and good effective bankrolling, the commissions I paid essentially canceled it out. So moving forward, I just need to keep that in mind. I need bigger, fatter wins, even if it's a difference between 2 ticks and 3 ticks. Like I think on a 3 tick win, I'm negating a lot of that um, commission drag, and I'm scraping more profit out of those trades. Whereas a 1 to 2 tick win, while it's better than taking a loss, it's still the commissions essentially negate the expectancy of that trade. I just don't think they're worth taking. So moving forward, I don't think I should be taking trades if they're only good for 1 to 2 ticks. I think I need to at least be pushing 3 ticks, maybe 4 if I can get it. So that's pretty much it for this session. I'm really glad I visualized that trade 15. I think it was important that I understand there's edge here. I can effectively, extract money from the markets. I just got to be more patient. I can't take death by 1,000 paper cuts on the way down. I need to be a little more calm, a little bit more patient, and wait for those big setups because they're worth it. That if I could have taken 14 ticks, if my one trade today was at 14 ticks, like how amazing would that be? But it's not. It's not worth it when I take 10 losses on the way to get it. So just patience and waiting for those good setups is what I need to focus on in the sessions moving forward.